Hey folks, how's it going? Let's move over slightly. Let's get a better rig for this camera. It's only a clippy, bendy arm thing. And the clips can slip and the arm can move and can't guarantee which way the camera's facing. But yeah, I'll work on getting a better camera rig at some point. At the moment, it works nicely. So we're not going to mess around with that. But what we are going to mess around with is Unity, the game engine. If you've not seen me the last couple of Fridays, I've been working on a silly game, as I like to call it. I have a full-blown game kind of in the works, so to speak, mentally, on paper. So we're doing the groundwork for a full-blown game. Let's move this microphone down a little bit. There we go. It's blocking my light. You can't block the light microphone. Yeah, I've got a full-blown game kind of being planned. But in the meantime, I've got to practice my skills on this silly little game. Yet to have a name. I have an idea of a name, but I'm not going to name it yet. So we're going to see how it goes first. Yeah, switch over and let's have a look. Right, so one thing I didn't do is didn't get Visual Studio open. Let's do that now. Castle hit. So I'm trying to remember what we planned last time. So we got the ball running up. We got the ball hitting the castle. Ah, the fire! The fire. We're going to do the fire, weren't we? So it's was it fire? We got the. It might be fire. It might be fire. We got the bricks falling away. When the ball hits the castle, the bricks fall away. So that's doing a thing. It might be fire. I don't know. I'm not sure we need fire. We have an effect. That was the main point is I want to have an effect when the ball hit the castle. Which we do have. So we have that. Ah. It was stabilising the ball. So discovered last week that because the ball is spherical, obviously, it can move. And the Unity engine applies real world physics. So close to as least as it can. And the ball can roll. And if the ground is uneven, the ball will move into divots and so forth. But the way we move the ball is to apply a force to the ball in the direction of forward. Now, as far as the ball is concerned, forward is a single point on the ball. If that ball moves, forward is a completely different direction. Which is a problem. Because we always want the ball to go in the direction that we are pointing, where we're aiming. So the ball needs to be stationary, static, until the moment we give it a forward force. And then we want it to behave as a ball. But until then, we don't want it to behave as a ball. We want it to be a static object that doesn't move. I believe there should be a case of just turning off the engine. The physics part for that particular object. It might be as simple as that, and then turning it on when we apply the force. So we can give that a go. So we got the code is up now. I don't know why. It might change the window capture. What? Which window capture? Unity hub. I don't actually need that one now because that's capturing the hubs, not really something. Greetings, human. Greetings, Jeffrey. How's it going? Hope you've had a good week. Hope you had a good Friday so far. We're just remembering what we're going to do, and we're going to control the ball. So when I reset the ball, it goes wherever it wants to go. We don't want the ball to go where it wants to go. We want the ball to go where we want it to go. So we will affect that. I don't know why. Why? Capture mode after max title, otherwise window the same type. Is it? OBS does not like capturing Visual Studio without resetting the object each time, which is mildly frustrating, I'll say. But okay, let's have a look. So we got a ball object. We've got a ball object. Now, what makes the ball object a ball is the rigid body, I'd say. So mass, drag, gravity. So I'm wondering if we can just turn something off, or do we just put the drag up to 100 so it can't move? Possible. Say if we put the ball's drag to 100, that's how much resistance the ball has against other objects. We do that and we play the game. In theory, the ball should move, even if I wanted to. There you go, the ball's not moving. So what I wanted to do is, upon clicking the ball button, I wanted to then set the drag back to 0, apply the force, and the ball goes off. Then I hit reset, set the drag to 100, and then change its position. So let's go for that. It might not be the industry way, it might not be the best way, but it's a way. It's a way we can work with this. So let's go to the code. This is the rolling ball, I believe. So when we're adding force, we want, just before we add the force, we want is it a rigid body? Is it the rigid body? It is the rigid body, okay. So the rigid body. So it's rig dot is it drag? That equals 0? Is that the right syntax? I think that's the right syntax. Hey Larry, how's it going? How are you doing? I'm doing pretty well. It's been a busy day at work. I've had to sort out a problem for 1, 2, 3. 3 of our offices across the country I've had to work on today. 4 things. 4 different offices across the country I've had to do something for. Usually I only have to do work for one office at a time, but today I was working for 4 offices, so that was fun. But I achieved it all. I actually did it all. I'm quite happy. Hey Lisa, yo, how's it going? What's up? I'm doing fantastic. How are you? Hope you've had a good week. Hope you're enjoying your Friday. And you, Larry, hope you're having a good week as well. It's good to see you. Thank you all for being here. Much appreciated. I love seeing your names in the chat. Speaking of which, let's get my bot open so I can see my lovely lurkers. I'm not going to call you out or anything, but I love seeing your names. Whether you chat or not, or whether you follow or not, seeing your names in my viewers list knows that you're enjoying it, at least. Just had a very stressful game of COD Zombies. Oh dear. I keep playing. Well, I don't keep playing. I haven't played for ages. I bought COD. The last time I actually bought COD because I wanted to play zombies, and I didn't. In fact, I didn't even play the game much. Played it for about an hour. And that was I can't remember what that was. Black Ops 3. I bought Black Ops 3 to play the zombies, and I just didn't. I think I opened it once. You love it now. Love zombies in Vanguard. Oh, okay. Yeah, so I got Black Ops 3 for the Xbox, and then I've got Call of Duty World War 2, Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare for the PlayStation 4. But I only have one Call of Duty for the Xbox. Never really tried zombies in Cold War. Ah. I bet that'd be quite interesting. It'd be almost like a Wolfenstein, I suppose. Right. So reset ball location. So as I was just saying, the problem we have is the ball acts like a ball 100% of the time, which you may think is generally what you want a ball to be. But I don't want this ball to be a ball 100% of the time. I want it to be a ball when we want to move the ball. When the ball is moving, when we want it to move, it needs to be a ball. When it's not being a ball, we don't want it to move. So when we reset the ball, we want to set its drag to 100. And I'm saying the drag is the resistance. So if you think of sliding a piece of ice, like an ice cube, and sliding it across the table, that ice cube has very little drag. It will just keep sliding. But if you get a rubber cube, that rubber cube is going to have a very high drag. You can't slide it. So in Unity, the drag applies that resistance to an object. So if I'm making a ball have a drag of 100, it's not moving. It's pretty solid in its place. So we're saying stick it to 100, move its location, and when we go to bowl it, set the drag to 0, and then push it. So we save that, go back into Unity. In theory now, the ball, when it resets, won't move, because it can't move. Will it also not move in the air? So when we push the ball, you'll obviously have no drag, but I see what you're thinking. Or resistance, I think it's usually to do with two surfaces. So the drag is how much, like, if you push something, if you want to push it, how long will it take it to stop? So in theory, it should be able to go through the air until it hits the ground and go boom and suddenly stick. Think of like a sticky ball. You throw the ball, it's fine until it hits the ground and it will stick. So I could have it so it when it lands instantly sticks, which make for an interesting gaming mechanic. You can have like sticky grenades. You go boom, stick. So it's just for solid surface, yeah. Although drag typically can refer to, in real life, drag would refer to aircraft and watercraft. But in the game sense, water is just another surface. And I suppose, I don't know, I'm not sure how you make aircraft. That's not something I've looked into. The ability to fly suggests there's no drag. You get into a whole load of a type of physics trying to simulate air drag, I suppose. But I'm not interested in making anything that flies. I suppose you'd have to write your own drag code, so it's its own kind of air resistance, so it'll slow down as it's going through the air. Interesting thought though, Larry. I never really thought about that. But yeah, as far as Unity is concerned, drag is two objects against each other. So if I hit bowl now, that will move. Hit reset, the ball is perfectly still. If I go bowl and reset midair, it should not move now. It should be bang. That's not supposed to happen. I wonder if it catches it. It's not supposed to fly in the air like that. So this is what I was trying to avoid, is the ball rotating. Maybe I need to apply rotation. Because I'm going to rotate around, because when the ball spawns, it's facing the other direction. So I'm telling it to rotate 180 degrees, but I'm not telling it any other type of rotation. So maybe I need to do that. Maybe I need to specify in the code. So transform set position ball rotation is what set it. So ball rotation is on the ball. Where is ball rotations? Down here, isn't it? Ball rotation. So it should set it to x equals 0, y equals 180, z equals 0, and w equals 0. So it should set that. So why is it firing off? Because the code suggests that it should only move the one axis. Okay, let's play the game again, and let's watch the. So we can watch the code down here. So behind the panda slightly, but we'll bowl it a few times. Oh, it's up here. Sorry, the rotation. So x0, y 180, and z 0. So we bowl it. It is the x that seems to roll. Ah, so it's still spinning. Interesting. Gotta clean me mouth. Okie dokie. I'll see you shortly. I always forget that. It's always a lot later on the Fridays. So that ball is spinning. You can't see it, but the ball's spinning. Is it because the ball is slightly levitated? If I hit bowl now. So the ball's doing this. It is actually spinning. Even though the velocity is set to 0. I wonder if I have to do one more transform on the pointer bowl. Because that is still spinning. Let's give the ball a different texture. Because at the moment being black, you can't really see it spinning. It doesn't always keep spinning. Sometimes it stops. True, true. It is the x-axis that is definitely spinning. Enable constrained proportions. Oh, scale. Rotation. So ideally we want... Can we set the x-axis to not move? I wonder if we can lock the x-axis. I think there is something about locking it. Rigid sphere collider mesh. There is something somewhere about locking movement axis. Collider. Constraints. There we go. We want to freeze rotation on the x-axis. So we're not... in theory it should not rotate now. Whether it will still move is interesting. We can give that a go. I wonder if by locking the x-axis now on the rotation, will it still move? It does. Awesome. We might have solved the issue by locking the X. So you see the X doesn't change now. But the ball still moves. I think it's because it might be sliding now. Rather than rolling, it might just be going whoosh and sliding and then stopping. Which, as far as we're concerned, it doesn't need to roll. It's not behaving as a ball. It is an object I'm throwing through the air. Never considered that I can actually bowl twice. Now, is it going slower because of... No, probably not. Okay, we've solved that issue now. So it's no longer doing anything weird. So every time I hit that bowl button, I'm guaranteed it's going to move the same. What happens if you bowl multiple times? Let's give it a go. Oh, it's staying. It keeps firing itself into the castle, because it's the same as me getting a bat and keep hitting it. An invisible bat. So every time I hit bowl, it's the same as me batting the ball in that direction. Interesting. You make a very good game tester, though. Okay. One thing I do need to do is move this reset button so it's out of the way of everything. Probably put it down here. And you may have noticed every time it hits the castle, it makes a brick spawner. So the brick spawner is that thing that makes the bricks fall down, which is great, but I want it to sort of self-destruct, so to speak. So I want these brick spawners to self-destruct. So I think the easiest way to do that is to give the brick spawner its own piece of code. So let's make a new piece of code. Create C# script and call it a brick brick spawner. Let's do that. Okay, we've got a brick spawner, and let's apply it to the brick spawner object, which is there, brick spawn. So put the brick spawner, whoops. Let's close some of these up. Brick spawner onto there. Cool. So now the brick spawner has some code. So the spawn particle spawner, or particle system, it's got a duration of 1 second. So boom, speed 1 second, modify. So after 1 second it needs to delete itself. So let's open the brick spawner code. So on start we don't need the update, I don't think. So it is it's a game object dot destroy and semicolon, because you always have to have a semicolon. Takes 0 argument. Oh, there's no brackets. No. Naming rule violation. These words must begin with uppercase, lowercase, brick spawner. Okay. Brick spawner. No. Brick spawn. Might have to Google this syntax. Brick spawn, capital B. The only thing with this language, it's very particular about the uppercase and lowercase. This, I think it's called this, isn't it? So destroy this. There we go. So in C# code, this refers to wherever it's sat. So if it's sat in here, this refers to this bit of code in this object. But we don't want it to destroy itself instantly. We want it to wait. Let's have a quick look. What is the code for wait? Unity C#. Wait 1 second. What is the code for sleep? Wait. How do I make a script? Sleep. Wait 4 seconds. This one's simple as so starts. So wait for seconds. So is it just wait 4 seconds? Wait 4 seconds. What's the real time? So it suspends the coroutine execution for a given amount of seconds using unscaled time. Suspends the coroutine execution for a given amount of seconds using scaled times. Don't know the difference. Let's tell it 1 second. It must begin with an uppercase, lowercase bricks. Oh, it doesn't like the fact I've not. Okay. Non-invocable member wait for seconds can be used like a method. How do we use wait for seconds then? Or is it time.delta time? A good example is when you need a timer display on screen, how much time it is waited, basically like a timer. Also, if you want to interrupt the wait sleep with a boolean. While counter is less than wait time. Don't really want to go through that. You're back. Welcome back, Jeffrey. Taro and Aussie. I just want to wait for a second. What's the... I don't want to write too much code for this. So yield return new wait for... Let's have a quick look. How do we use wait for seconds? Let's have a look at the Unity manual. So it's yield return new wait for seconds. Yield return new wait for seconds. Is that the syntax? Doesn't like that now. Status code just before the update method is start coroutine. Oh, okay, okay. Right, let's do this. Let's follow the exact sample on the Unity website. Actually, tell you what. Let's copy this code and just delete what I don't need. Because copying code is not a crime. A lot of people end up doing it. Okay. So we don't need to print that it's waiting. Let's do that. Call it tidy. Keep that instruction there. Alright, save that. So that's basically, it says start a coroutine. That rates routine then waits for 1 second. And then destroys itself. Let's see if that tidies things up. Doesn't appear to be doing so. Let's put the let's timestamp what it's in. Is it because I changed the name of Brick Spawner? May not like it. Let's go rename. Brick spawn. Brick spawner, cool. Let's go save. Get the console open. So we should have a time event, and that hits now. Timestamp, timestamp. Okay. So maybe it's the destroy that doesn't work then. So maybe I'm not destroying the object properly. So have a look, how do we destroy objects? So that we know the wait thing works. That's not an issue. Unity destroy. Object.destroy. How do we do this? Destroy void destroy game object, destroy game object. Removes destroy script instance. Oh, so destroy this will take the script, or destroy the script but not the object. We want to destroy the game object. So it's destroy game object, not... Okay. Subtle difference, I suppose. No. Need to open it. Brick spawner code. So uncomment that. So it is destroy. And rather than this, it is game object. Cool. We don't need the timestamps in there now. Alright, save that. Okie dokie. Right. Wait for that to reapply. Play the game. So, bowl. Yeah, look at that. So if we look over on the side here, it goes over, creates a brick spawner, spawns the bricks, destroys the brick spawner. So destroy is a universal way of getting rid of anything in Unity. So you want to destroy code, you want to destroy an object. So if an enemy dies, for instance, they can kind of fall over, turn invisible, and then you destroy the object because we don't want it existing. If you've got like mountains and mountains of dead enemies, you get a lot of lag. It's a very funny video on YouTube. I think it's a YouTuber playing the Hitman game. Managed to get every single NPC on the level into the kitchen. No, it might be the kitchen. It's into a room. Basically, one of the rooms on this Italian level. Goes to an Italian restaurant, knocks out and drags every single NPC into the one room, and then throws a bomb in there. And Hitman, I've only played it a few times. It seems a lot of fun. But yeah, apart from those glitches for having so many NPCs layers on top of each other, the bomb exploding and the ragdolling effect on every single NPC's body, the game just barely handled it. I haven't played it much, so I can't have an opinion, but it looks cool. Yeah, it's a nice little stealth game. Makes you think, you go, okay, I need to get this object, I need to take out this person, I need to go down this route, I need to set this trap, wait for this person to walk this way, cause that distraction. You have to really plan it out, and it doesn't have to be done the same way each time. You can go more direct, you can go more sneaky, you can work on NPCs more, or you can avoid NPCs completely. You can dress up and disguise yourself and sneak in that way. You could probably try and steal a key, go through the back door. So all these different options, how you want to approach this scenario, and the game gives you at least 3 obvious ways to work around it. And there's usually a secret 4th. But if you like stealth games that make you think, Hitman's definitely good for that. But I've not played it much. I own a few of them, but like many games, do not own them. Do not play them often. Okay, so I'm happy with that. We've got a ball that doesn't fly off in random directions, unless we want to. We have a brick spawner that destroys itself. So, I would like to move this reset button. Then we can work at maneuvering the ball in different locations, about like changing the pivot and trying to work out the angle. Now it's not moving, we could apply an angle to the ball without using the ramp. Now what we could do, if we wanted to make it more like a throw, is change the amount of force we apply to the ball, but make the ball heavier so it kind of curves. So you kind of have to aim up knowing that it will curve down. That would be an interesting thing to do. But for now, we're throwing the ball with enough force over just a short distance that it pretty much goes in a straight line without falling until it hits the castle. So I might be able to do something So if we copy the X position of the bowl button, or bill as I've put, because I didn't spell it right. Go save. And play the game. Not quite what I had in mind. This moves slightly to the right. Ah, it's because I've got center. We want it to be like that. Okay. Let's do that, see where that puts it. You can do it manually. You can move it around, but I can't remember how you look at the canvas for now. Right, so X. So you don't want it to be that far over. Let's. So it's 149. Apply 160 to 149. Makes it 2. 260. 310, roughly. And 76 will make it on the same line. Cool. Alright, let's save that. Don't have to save it, but you never know, the game goes. There we go. Good bit of calculations there. So bowl and reset are next to each other now. Bowl, reset, bowl, reset, bowl, reset, bowl, reset, bowl, reset. Cool. I like that. So possibly you want to move the camera around so it's behind the ball now. So we have a better idea of how we're maneuvering the ball. Where's the camera? Main camera. The camera's here. Move it this way. And to rotate the camera. Let's move that minus 180 on the dot. And move it. Just put that a little bit higher. And then the rotation. Step it down a little bit. Put it back. Move it up. Back a bit further. Up a bit further. Right. See how that looks. Cool, so the ball, we're right behind the ball. Okay, so we want to be able to change where the ball's going. Now we could probably, to help with knowing which direction the ball is going, we probably need an object now, like a crosshair. That. Welcome back, Lisa. You know, we're probably going to need a crosshair now to indicate which direction the ball's going. Unless the camera is locked behind the ball, so you kind of rotate the camera around, and where the camera's looking is where the ball's going to go. We could do that. So if we rotate the camera around on a semicircle, on an arc, the ball is rotated at the same time, and when we hit bowl, it goes directly forward. I'm also watching a DJ and his chunky cat comes helping DJ Vacu. Oh, awesome. I could do with a couple of extra buttons. One that kind of turns left, one right. Wherever you do DJ streams, you should also have Damien help too. Yeah, I don't know how he's going to help. He certainly can't be anywhere near the equipment, so we'll just climb all over it. I was trying to do something the other day and he was wanting to be right in the middle, as cats do. I suppose if there's one thing cats are good at with DJing, it's scratching. You can always guarantee a cat can scratch. In fact, I have seen a cat scratching post, which is actually a DJ deck. Obviously, it's like a circular piece on a flat piece with like a little needle arm, so the cat can kind of scratch it. Right, need 2 buttons. Yeah, see, because the ball is off the ground, when we reset it, it drops, and that's when it rolled slightly, I think. But now we've locked the x-axis. Thing is, we might have to unlock the x-axis depending on how things go, but I don't think we will. So we kind of want it to be stationary until we throw the ball. The thing is, I can programmatically unlock the x-axis, so I could probably put in that code so it'll roll off and behave like a ball, but then lock it again. Yeah, I might do that. I might lock it again after. Let's go to the code. Let's go to the bowling ball. So we add the force. As soon as we add the force, we've got the game object dot. It's not a game object, is it? It is the. Where is the lock? It is under the rigid body again. Everything's under the rigid body. So rig dot what's it called? Constraint. Oops. Do you want to minimize it all? Dot constraints dot what is it? Constraints. Only assignment called increment, decrement, await New object expressions we use as statement. How do we fix this? So can we set the constraint? Let's have a Google. Constraints. We want to rigid body constraints. Freeze position Z, freeze rotation Z. Okay, okay. So it's constraints. So we give it, but we want it to be X. So does that mean we can unfreeze it? We want to make sure we can lock it and unlock it. Freeze all, freeze position Y. So unfreeze, none. Okay, we go none. And then we do the opposite. And go freeze position, freeze rotation X. I suppose that's the thing as well. Rather than giving it a drag, I could say freeze position, and it just won't move. But drag seems a bit easier for now. So we save that. Let's see how that affects the game. We've got the ball highlighted, we go ball. So now it's rolling. Go reset. Static. Now, does it? It seems to behave better, I think, doing that way. So we unlock the rotation when we give it force, but then lock the rotation when we hit reset, along with the drag. So cool. I like that. That seems to work. So that adds a couple more buttons down here that can change where we're looking. So that's going to be interesting. So we need to lock the camera around the current position of the ball. And then rotate it at a set distance. Possibly then, we have an object, an invisible object that we attach the camera to, and that object rotates. That makes sense to me. Let's do that. So let's go back to. You're going to release this game on Steam. Not sure if Steam will let me release this game. I'll definitely give you the file for it. You can play it. What I could release it on, there's a indie platform called Itch, so ITCH. Indie developers put their games on there. Itch is kind of like Bandcamp, but for games. You know Itch. Lots of freemiums, sex games. That probably explains why they're there then. But yeah, I'll probably end up putting on the Itch if I really think people would want to play it. Because I don't think itch has much constraints if it's got sex games. Whereas Steam, you have to kind of go through certain hoops. So yeah, when we do that, I'll put it on itch and I'll give everyone a link. Go, hey, download it. Let me know what you think. Right, we need an object. So create an empty. We now have an empty object. Let's call this game object. Rename it to camera pivot, I suppose. Camera pivot. And set this position the same as where the ball currently is. Let's go Y. Now if I was doing this game properly, I would have picked better positioning rather than a random location on the map. Which I could still do. So I can move the castle, I can move the ball, I can move everything. But the more I do, the harder it's become eventually if I want to move everything around. But right now there's only a few things on here, so it won't hurt to actually do that. So now this is where it could get all messy, so let's go save. We want to make the camera a child of the pivot. So in theory now, if we go rotate on the camera pivot, the things you do know, they learn new things that come in Health of Real games. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of principle. So yeah, for when I actually make my proper game, like buttons, on-screen UI, applying physics, working out how to make stuff interact. The one thing I've not done so far is have keyboard controls. Everything's through mouse. Or like I would like to work out gamepad controls, so I can use a gamepad. Use like an Xbox controller and stuff. So that I'd like to work out before I start making my game. So I can just go into it and just use stuff I've already got rather than... Or PS5 controller. Any controller. But yeah, if you work out these things beforehand and sort of leave all the messy bits of you working it out behind on the test game, like this game is going to be a mess, I suppose. I'm going to try and not make it a mess, but it's going to be a mess compared to what the other game would be. It's like anything. You paint, you draw, you make music. The first few times you try is going to be a little bit messy. So I'd rather not make something I want to put a lot of time into messy. So I'll do all the messy bits here and go, I know how to do that camera now. I know how to do that control. I know how to do this. And I can just load it up and do it. It might not work. I might have to work out a brand new way. But at least with this, I can give it a go. Now I think there's something I need to change here. Because it's relative position, isn't it? Yeah. Clipping panes, field of view, physical camera, background, clear flags, protection. Curling mask. I think that's okay. So what you gonna make Monday? Oh, I don't know. I was thinking I would like to do the inside of the TARDIS, so do the control room. But I'm not sure I'll do that Monday. Or I might make a Dalek, or might start making a Dalek. Or I could do some pixel art for a change. I don't know. I'll have a think. It might be nice to do some pixel art, something kind of arty. Oh, make a Nix with fireworks. I could do. I could make a Nix. Since Nix did the same review, yeah, I was really happy and surprised with Nix making me. So that was a lot of fun to see. Yeah, I don't like how. Every time I play off stream, I go there and I do the fireworks of these ones. Nice. Yeah, the only thing with the firework thing, you have to load the fireworks into the launcher. And then top them up. So you need to find an easy way to automatically top them up. Let's go minus 180. So that's not quite worked out as I planned. Because that's... Let's put a cube in there. Create a cube. I'm not quite fully understanding. Okay, so that moves together. Edit and do. See, also the graphics of the fancy story game based on kind of, yeah. It's fairly cartoony, I want to do. So the graphics will be like this. Maybe a bit more detail than these trees. These trees are a bit too basic. So I'd want more detail in that. And maybe the castles as well. But it's a good start. Not sprites, no. I want it to be 3D, but the probably how you're going to play it is kind of top down like this. Probably a little bit better angle. So you kind of just running around like this kind of thing. So it's a little bit like the angle of Stardew Valley. If that makes sense. But it's 3D. I don't want it to be like first person, I don't want it to be third person. I want it to be, well, it's going to be third person, but looking down. So you'd be running around. Whoops. Can't do it like that. Yeah. You're looking down on the character running around. A little bit like Baldur's Gate, I suppose. Because Baldur's Gate's a bit like that, but not so tiny. A bit closer. Maybe like, let's go to this bard over here. Probably like that. So that if that bard was a character, kind of running around, just kind of see him like this. I don't know, not quite worked out the angle I want, but I don't want it to be like on their level kind of thing. Because a lot of games is kind of you're stuck looking at the back of your character at all times. I don't want that. I mean, so the camera just kind of floats around after the character, but like Stardew Valley, you see it kind of from one side. That way I don't have to worry about creating an horizon and stuff. So all the graphics and the objects can be seen from certain angles. Probably still will create a lot of stuff you can't see, but just want to be able to yeah, have it sort of a fairly, almost like you're looking down at some toys, kind of playing with toys and stuff. That kind of idea. So you're looking at a table and you're moving the toys along. That's what my thoughts are. I suppose Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing kind of, almost. But better. Well, more my vision, not quite. Not saying my game would be better than Animal Crossing, but... So why is that locking to camera there? So no matter what I select, it's moving the camera. I want it to rotate around. Can that not do that? Oh, you like sprites? Nice. Yeah, I used to love doing modding games that have sprites. So much easier to just swap the sprites out and stuff. Yeah, it's not a physical camera. Sprites are cool, sprites are cool. Zoomed in a little bit. Make sure we put the pivot object back to where it was. Yeah, I did think about doing the sprite thing, but to me, making sprites feel like it's going to be more work than just making a shape. Have you made any games yet? I suppose it depends on your definition of gamer. You know, good to see you. Hope you're having a good Friday. I've made a few test demo things, like playing around with mechanics, but I've not made a play the game, get a goal, finish the game, kind of the start, middle, end that I personally would call the game. But I've made a mobile game I've got on my phone where you can move little things around and stuff, but there's no end. So without an end, to me, it doesn't feel like a game. But I could make it a game. I could say, well, once this thing has been happened, yay, game over, you win. So I could technically make a game, but I like jumping into the deep end and trying a few things. So this is a silly game. This is just me playing around, going, what can I do that isn't too complicated, but still covers a few elements of what I might want in an actual game. So at the moment I'm trying to work out how to have a camera spin around a point. Now there's probably tutorials out there, and I've probably already watched the tutorial that does it, but I can't remember. So there's an invisible point here. I want the camera to spin around it. Eventually I would like to get this thing working. So this produces the ball that gets thrown at the castle. But I need to do some work in Blender to add some rigging to it so it moves. At the moment it's a stationary object. It's all fun and all this, it looks cool. But I would like it to be a movable object. Something that has function. Until then we have a ball and the ball just moves. So if I reset everything back to where it should be, rotation, so that's angling down. Okay, so that looks okay. But I would like it to spin. Need to work out how to affect the point of rotation. Let's go back to Google. It's gotta be a Google somewhere. Unity camera rotate around object. That's what we wanted. Rotate the camera around an object. Transform look at target, transform translate vector 3 right times time dot delta. So it's look at target. So that turns the camera to look at something. But I want the camera to. It's not rotating the camera, is it? It's pivoting the camera, I suppose. That's rotating the camera. Rotate the camera around object. Make the camera look at the object, then add movement. Add a below code to camera. So that's only. So does that make it pivot by telling it to look at the target and move to the right? Okay, I can see that. I can see that working. Target transform. Okay, so I'm guessing, is that more of a hack? Is there a better way of doing that? Because what I want to do is have the camera kind of arc around the object. But that's suggesting telling the camera to look at the object and then keep moving to the side and then turning to look at the object again. So it's kind of like doing this and sort of just going round and round. Surely there's got to be a better way. Right, let's mute for a second while I open this bottle. Okay, let's have a look, see if there's any other see if there's any other suggestions. So transform, rotate left, transform, rotate right. Your code only moves around the left side. Where's any suggestions here? Point, target, transformation position, get target's coordinates, look at point. So rotate around. Ah, what's this? Makes the camera rotate around point coordinates. Ah. Rotate around its y-axis 20 degrees is transform.rotate around point, comma, new vector 3 of 0, 0, 1, 0. 20 times delta time speed mod. Speed mod is 10. That's speed modifier. Okay. That feels better to me. Transform.rotate around. That feels like it's better too. So you give the camera a point in space and then you tell it to rotate so many points around it. That feels what I want it to be. Okay. Point is the point where the camera looks at. So the point it's looking at is not necessarily the ball, it's above the ball. So the camera pivot kind of needs to be directly in the middle of the camera. Or is the camera pivot where the crosshair is going to be? And it rotates around the crosshair? No, because the crosshair is on the UI really. But this is a bit close to where it wanted to be. If I copy this code as a reference. Let's now I could do it for the camera pivot point, not actually apply it to the camera. What how do they do it? They had it camera class. They call it camera class. But I could make a bit of code, create C# script. Let's call it camera rotate. Not what I want to do. Always press enter and it opens up the last thing I'm looking at. So camera rotate I want to put on the camera pivot point. Okay, and then we can open the camera rotation. And this code was in the... Okay, so it replaces all this bit here. Public target class target. Get the target object. It's camera rotate, isn't it? I know the class. Any goals set for the real game? So what do you mean by goals? What I would like to achieve, or okay, yeah, like a yeah, targets, I suppose. I don't know. I need to really plan it out. Actually, project plan it. So kind of draw out what I need to do. How long do I think it would take me to give an accurate answer? But I would like to I would like to have the basic demo of the game, like a playable part of the game by the end of the year. Won't be the complete game, but I want to be able to be testing the mechanics for it and have a bit of art in it by the end of the year. And I'd like to have this game kind of finished by... Ooh, let's put a target on this game. Let's say having this game done... I'd like to have this game done by March. Let's have this so you can play it in March. That's a good target for it, because it's not a very complicated game, but I am learning as I go. So if I can get to March and this game's playable, I'll be happy. And I'd like to actually start my real game in April. But there's lots of stuff I can do before I even start making the game, if that makes sense. Like planning it out, as I say, doing concept art, working out story. Those are things I can do before I even code. So I can be doing that while I'm still working on this game. And then actually start coding it once I've worked out how to make the game, if that makes sense. Would it be difficult if there was a end result to have an Apple, Windows and Linux version? Shouldn't be, no, because Unity, the good thing with the Unity game engine is it all... you choose what operating system you want it to be loaded on. Now, the only problem, however, is if I wanted to make an Apple version, I would have to load it on a Apple computer and then compile it on the Apple computer. So I'd have to make it on Apple, but I'd have to load the entire game files on an Apple computer in a Apple version of Unity, then compile the game into a finished product, and then that can then be copied onto any other Apple computer, because it's only Apple computers have the element in it that can make games for Apple, if that makes sense. But Linux, Windows is allowed to make games for Linux. I suppose I could use an OS X emulator, as long as it won't crash if I'm running Unity inside it. But saying this, I do have access to an Apple computer. My friend has a MacBook, quite a powerful MacBook. So if I ask him really nicely, install Unity on his MacBook, I could copy the files onto it, run it, compile it, copy it off again, done, and just distribute the Apple version. Same with iPhone. If I wanted to make a game for iPhone, I would have to run it on an Apple, and then I can make the game for iPhone. At the moment, I can make games for Android, which I have. I've made a very basic game on Android. Well, I say game. It's a funny mess around thing. Let's close all this. Brighter screen. So, there's a little game I made on Android. Doesn't do much. You just have these little people running around. So I wrote a bit of code that determines where the NPCs move to and stuff. But this runs on Windows and on Android. There you go. Turn it sideways. Got these little NPCs wandering around this little table. And of course you can You can get the little boxes to move around and stuff. And I've got, if an NPC touches another object, it'll stop and go, oof, then turn around and go somewhere else. So that was kind of a silly game. This is another silly game that I'm making now. But I've got no UI on that, so I can't exit, I can't do anything other than just click on boxes. But if I went into that code, gave it a UI, give you a goal that you have to make the NPCs collect 10 coins and then you win, that technically would be a game. So I might do that. I might just give it a goal, give it a UI, and then technically I've got an Android game. But yeah. But that was made as a Android game as opposed to a PC game. So it's designed you can touch it. But I've also put the code in for using mouse clicks. So you have to put 2 lots of controller code. One for mouse control, one for touch control. And then they run the same code. So tap, run this code. Click, run this code. So that's kind of how you get around with that. And if you as a controller, you have to go, okay, when you push a controller button, run this code. When you click a mouse, run this code. Or when you press spacebar, jump. When you hit A on the controller, jump. Kind of that kind of thing. So you write the basics and then you write all the codes for what happens when which button is pressed. So in principle, won't be too hard.
History will remember your contribution to this.
Hey, thank you for the like on Facebook, Jeffrey. Much appreciate that. And what's the time? So I'll go for another few minutes, see if I can work out this rotating camera, and then I'll have to call it a night. Slowly open the bottle. But yeah, if I get to a point of releasing it, I'll try and make the game as compatible as many systems as I can. Because I want people to play it. There's no point making it harder for people to play a game. And the hardest thing releasing a game is getting it to work on consoles. Getting it working on a Windows, Linux and an Apple computer, so pretty easy. I have all platforms except Android though. Though you can have an Android emulator, but it might be only on Windows. I have a Android emulator, which I found quite useful for playing Android games on my computer when I'm not feeling like tapping my screen on my phone, which is quite good because I've got a home automation Android app which I can load on my computer through the emulator and just click on things and change stuff around the house rather than having to open my phone. But yeah, I would love for my game to come out on consoles, but having to rework the code. I think these days Xbox is pretty easy because it's just Windows. Xbox is just Windows with a fancy face on it. PlayStation is a bit harder, and sort of Nintendo Switch, you can have a hard time, very hard time. Everyone I know that has tried to put a game on Switch has had such a difficult time with it. Not only trying to code it for the Switch, but getting Nintendo to be happy with it. They're very strict. So I've replaced that bit of code there, but that's not right. So the target object. So the target object is a camera pivot. So it is a camera pivot? No? Or is it just game object? Target. Okay, yeah. That means we can drag a game object into it and it'll rotate around it. Point target. How are you gonna get the 3D models for your real game? So I'll probably start off with the assets I've already got as stand-ins. Then I'll probably try and create something in Blender. And then I can export from Blender for Unity then. But it's not going to be... That's why I want to do like fairly cartoony graphics, because it means I don't have to put too much detail. But at the same time, it can still look quite nice. The hardest thing is going to be the characters. Trying to make believable characters and NPCs. Like the buildings. Buildings are buildings. Plant life is plant life. But making creatures and NPCs is probably going to take me the longest amount of time. So once I've got the basic gameplay demo, most of my time is going to be creating NPCs, quest paths, and creatures, and making worlds, I suppose. But the making the worlds could be a far quicker, but they're bigger, so yeah, making a believable world, I think, is going to be quite hard as well. But yeah, I'll go try and sculpt it using Blender, make some 3D objects, and then bring them into Unity. So I need to teach myself Blender as well. But I've got some online courses I purchased for Blender. And there's plenty of free stuff online. So I've got a lot of resources I can go to create my assets. But again, yeah, I want the NPCs, the characters, player characters, to be fairly cartoony. Nothing too detailed, but still relatable. So I don't want to be like stick figures. I want to have like a body shape and stuff. And never know, if it gets enough interest, I might be able to work with someone who's better at sculpting character meshes and stuff. That's going to be way, way off. As long as I've got a game you can play, doesn't matter how bad it looks to start with, and I can work on improving the graphics afterwards. All games look a bit bad when everyone's working on the gameplay mechanics first, which is the best way to do it. You make a game that's fun to play, then you make it a good game. Good looking game, I should say. I can't do sculpting. That's okay. No, sculpting at the end of the day is just a series of shapes, and you just keep changing the shapes so they're more refined shapes. I guess for any kind of sculpting, whether that's with clay or 3D Blender objects. Right, let's give this a go before we log off for the night. So so in theory, if we apply this code, camera rotate to, which we already have, haven't we, to that. Do we drag the ball into there? Okay, so that's in there. So now I'm just going to make the camera rotate around the ball. Possibly. Let's find out. Whee! Around and around we go. Right, so rather than it spinning around, we need to tie the rotation now to a button press. I'm going to stop that before we get too dizzy. We can delete that as well. So let's go back to the camera code. Let's make a new function. Void rotate left. Oh. Make it public. Public void rotate left. Ah, keep forgetting I need the brackets. It's a problem when you spend your day job working in one set of code and then come home and start playing around with something else in the set of code. How do you make this a read only? What was that actually telling me? Read only modifier. Private read only. Okay. Do that. Cool. So it means I can't change that via code, which is fine. Don't particularly want to. So rotate left. And let's copy this and make a rotate right. Spell it right. Now it depends what we're classing as left and right now. So it's rotating to the right. So rotate right is where we want it to be. We want it to be minus 20 degrees. Let's comment that out. Let's comment the whole thing out to keep it happy. Okay, no update function. Cool. This a sonar mix. It's a breakout mix. But yeah, it's one of my mixes. The easiest thing to do is play my own music. Well, my own mix. It's not my music. Rather than trying to find Twitch-friendly music, I'll play something that I've played before. Right, let's go back. Now we've got that in place. Go back to canvas, make a new button. Where it is UI, it is button text mesh pro. And let's call this rotate left, make another button, UI button, rotate right. Rotate left. Rotate right. Let's set the positioning to be the same as the other buttons, which is aligning by bottom left corner. Makes life a little bit easier. Bring these up. I'm on your SoundCloud now. Oh! Super Cali. It's sampling, you know, Mary Poppins with the song Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. I took the sample of Mary Poppins singing Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious and sort of made it sound a bit, I don't know, tried to make it lower pitched, and I was trying to go for like a moody drum and bass. Didn't quite work. It's nothing to do with weed though, if that's what you're thinking. Although I suppose I could retrospectively apply that to it. Never seen Mary Poppins, didn't know. Ah. But yeah, it's not super Cali weed or anything. I could probably do a remix. But yeah, the stuff on my SoundCloud is it's not bad, but I could do far better now. But just yeah, I haven't made music for over a decade now. But yeah, other things going on. Reset button. So we want everything to be 76 on the Y. 76. 76. 13 years, yeah. 13 years since I've made any, well, put any music up there. I've made, dabbled with music after my last track I put on SoundCloud. But nothing that I wanted to share at that point. And I could do with these being below. I suppose they could be beside. Let's call that 470. 470. 470. And then it's 570, but we can probably reduce this down to 100, and that is 100 as well. And want to make it on click. And it is camera function camera rotate left, and this button, oops, need to add an on click event, dragging the camera pivot, select function camera rotate right, cool, Save. Run the game. Hey, Nix. I'll be signing off very shortly, so I'll be able to have a chat. Oh, there we go. Click left, click right. Probably need to, I don't know, depends. All depends how much you want to be able to rotate. Now, we want to do the same to the ball, really, don't we? We want the ball to rotate. So let's go to the ball code, bowling ball code. We want to rotate left and right as well. Public void rotate left. Tell public void rotate right. Oh, is that a beer? Nice. Nice. No, I don't want to do this. I suppose object transform. Transform. That position. Rotate around. Rotate around local. Rotation. Loving all the emotes, those are awesome. No, remember transform rows can be used like a method. How do we use rotation? Is it an equals? I like that Twitch keeps track of how many times it's used on other channels. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So you know how useful your emotes are, how much people love using them. Actually, let's just do this. So rather than ball rotation, new coordination. So not. Now we want to be additive. So it'd be ball rotation plus. It'd be current location. Right? So would it be dot rotation plus? No. We want it to be additive on that. I think we'll work it out next week. So this could be our job for next week. Work out how to rotate the ball via the code. We should do that next week. So we'll save that. Close the code. So it's now hit 11 PM in the UK. So we made some progress with that. It really does take a long time to fumble your way through the code if you're not quite sure what you're doing. That's oh, that's a bad mix. Go on, push it, push it. I think he's got it. Yeah, he's got it there. No, not quite. It's a little bit off. Yeah, next week we'll work out how to rotate the ball.
Epic.
Epic. Thank you for the epic stream. Thank you for the stream. It was epic. Thank you. Thank you, Lisa. Much appreciate you having you here.
Epic.
Sorry for the AFK. Has some schoolwork. Oh, of course. I'd rather you be doing well, I'm sure you'd rather not be doing schoolwork, but I'd rather you be doing the schoolwork than putting it off. Yeah, we made some progress. We tied up the UI. We adjusted the camera. So next week we'll work out how to rotate the ball, and then we can actually fire the ball off in certain directions now. So that'll be fun. And then we'll, at the same way, we'll have the ball fire off at an angle, so it kind of go up or it's a bit lower. Once we get the ball doing that, we can then work out a pattern of destruction. So determine when the castle's been hit in all locations. So yeah, I should do that next week. Have a good night. Have a great week. I need to end the stream. I can't even speak. Have a good night and have a great weekend. See you Monday. Yes. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Nix. Thank you, Nino. And thank you anyone else who's been lurking. You're all awesome. And if you're not following already, make sure you follow me on your platform of choice so that get you notifications through when I go live, so you don't miss a stream. There'll be more game dev on Friday next week. Next stream will be on Monday though, playing some Minecraft, doing some creative arty stuff. So tune in then. Hope you have a good weekend, have a good night, and I shall see you then. Good night, thanks for joining. There you go.